So, whatever. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche pregame show live from the, what do we call this one? The cave? The studio? I don't know what, the cave? Sure.
I like the cave.
Either way, Rudo coming to you as the Avs are taking on the New York Islanders. J-Mike should be joining us here shortly. But the Avs are looking to make it 6 in a row. The Broncos won earlier. I don't want to jinx it, but I don't believe in jinxes, so... Every single day so far this season, the Avs have played on the same day as another major sports team in Colorado. They've both had the same result, whether that be winning or losing. The Broncos won. So that means the Avs win, right? That's how this works. Definitely what the math is on that one. It is a bit of an interesting one. Obviously, there are a lot of ex-player storylines in this game. Brock Nelson playing the Islanders with the Avs. But then on the other side, you have Jonathan Drouin, you have Cal Ritchie, you have Patrick Waugh as the coach. So a lot of ex-player madness or ex-coach madness, I guess, depending on how you want to look at the Patrick Waugh one in this game. That always makes for a, we'll call it an interesting game on that front. I don't know how much of that is actually going to play a part in the ex-playerness, though. We'll talk about that a little bit more later in my bets, perhaps. It should be fun. Should be an easy reason for the Avs to get up for a game. As you hit this stretch of the season where the Avs just had a couple of days off, they have 3 days off after this, you do worry about the lull a little bit. You do worry about the Avs falling asleep, maybe getting caught in a trap game. I don't even know if you can call this a trap game, though, because the Islanders, again, have won 4 in a row and also are in a playoff spot technically in the East. So it's not like this is a dumpster diver team where the Avs would play down, right? They should be able to take this team seriously just by looking at where the Islanders are and how they've been playing. With that being said, of course, every night the Avs have the high-end talent advantage pretty much, but tonight it feels a little bit more extreme. Not that, look, as Bo Horvat's fun. He's scoring a ton this year, having the best year of his career to date. And that best year of his career and leading scorer for the New York Islanders would be 4th in scoring on the Colorado Avalanche. MacKinnon, obviously, clearly ahead, as he is with every single player in the NHL. But you also have Natchez and Makar outscoring the Islanders' top scorer. And then it falls off pretty rapidly after that. They do have a bunch of decently producing players in there. Top 6, if you want to call it that. Their top line, at least, is producing well. You could make the argument that their second line is outproducing the Avs' second line, but as far as team-wide production, it is not even remotely close for where the Avs are producing as compared to where the Islanders are producing. The Avs should have that advantage. If we're being honest, the Avs should have every advantage in this game except for maybe in goaltending. Not that the Islanders' goaltending has been particularly great this year. It really hasn't, but it's been fine. And the Avs, I think, would qualify as fine as well so far this year, which it is going to be Scott Wedgwood again today. I think we've talked enough about that. Bednar has been pretty clear on he's going to play the best goalie at the moment. He's willing to ride the hot hand and is doing what he thinks is the best opportunity to win on any given night. Right now, I don't think you can really argue that if you're trying to win the immediate game in front of you, playing Wedgwood is probably the better option. Now, I don't know how much longer that's going to be the case, and at a certain point, you do have to bite the bullet and give Mackenzie Blackwood games, but that's not the job of the head coach. The job of the head coach is to win the next one, go 1-0 every single night, and that's what Jared Bednar is trying to do with his goaltending situation. On the Islanders side, I don't know. I'm curious what you think about this, chat. How real is Matthew Schaefer? Is this a kid that has just started the season wicked hot? Are we going to see him hit the rookie wall when we get 40 games into this year, or is this guy legit and on his way to the actual Calder Trophy win? To different levels, there are people already comparing him to Cale Makar. Jared Bednar got asked about that today even. Let's not get crazy. He's not Cale Makar, certainly not yet, and probably not ever. But I do think there's an argument that he is already proving he's a better defenseman than some of the star defensemen in this league. You want to talk up a Quinn Hughes or maybe even an Adam Fox, and I don't think it's totally unreasonable to put Schaefer in that category to a certain extent. Again, we have to see him play a full season and then see exactly how it looks as across 82 games, but he certainly looks, at least for being drafted first overall, it doesn't look like a mistake right now. I'll put it to you that way. I think it is a very real conversation there about him being part of that upper echelon of defensemen for the rest of his career. Still, I don't think he's as good as Makar, but fair enough. We don't have to dig that hole too much. I did want to circle back around to Drouin. Obviously, if you listen to the interview with him today, he did talk about wanting to stay in Colorado, but the reality of the business side of it is the Avs just weren't going to effectively pay the price that Jonathan Drouin deserved as a player. And on an emotional level, I mean, look, I'm wearing the Halifax homie shirt. I obviously mix the guy. Would have loved to have him in Colorado. But realistically, you are getting just as much, if not more, out of Victor Olofsson this year than you would have for Jonathan Drouin for less than half the price. So from a business standpoint, it was absolutely the right decision, as we now know with Olofsson, to make the move that the Avs made. They got way more value. It looks way better. It's hard to argue that keeping Drouin would have made sense in hindsight, knowing what the Avs were going to get out of Victor Olofsson so far this year. So credit to the Avs for making the right decision there, even if things didn't necessarily work out as far as in Drouin's favor on that one. We also do have a little bit more from Morning Skate here, so let's go hear what Bailey had to say as things kicked off this morning.
What is going on, you guys? Bailey Curtis with DNVR here, bringing you Inside Ball Arena for tonight's matchup against the New York Islanders. Big game for a multitude of reasons. First off, we want to touch on the fact that both Brock Nelson and Jonathan Drouin will be facing their former teams tonight in a matchup. This is their first time since being traded or acquired by their respective teams. They will be facing off here tonight. Jonathan Drouin was a big part of this team for a long time, so please give him a warm welcome as he returns to the arena. In other news, in the lineup, Taylor Makar was again recalled for today's game. He did play in Loveland a couple nights ago. They did a good job of managing his minutes in anticipation for this game, so we'll see him draw back in on that fourth line. Getting away from the lineup side of things, this game is a big deal for another reason, it being Hockey Fights Cancer Night. It is the annual night where the Colorado Avalanche highlight those who are dealing with cancer in their everyday lives, whether it be a person battling it themselves or a family supporting a family member. A night like this is really, really big for a guy in the locker room like Josh Manson, who lost his mother to cancer a few years ago. He talked a lot about it to us today, following morning skate, mentioning that he's done a lot to remember his mom, that being supporting other cancer survivors, those battling cancer, family members who are supporting those battling cancer. It's a huge night for him. He's doing a lot to support the research, said it's come a long way, and big nights like these are huge in bringing awareness to what's been done for cancer research so far. I really like what he said in the room about it not just being one person fighting this disease, but a multitude of people, whether it be friends, family, other loved ones. I think it's really huge for a night like this so we can highlight those who have put in the good fight and worked to beat this disease, and also honor those who are working their entire lives to cure it. Scott Wedgwood starting in net tonight, 7:11 p.m. puck drop. We'll see you here tonight against the New York Islanders.
Shout out Josh Manson. I can unfortunately relate with the mom cancer thing. Not fun, but yeah, you do your best on the other side of it. And yeah, Manson's a great dude. So shout out to him. J. Mike back in, fresh off the Broncos win. Vibes are good.
Vibes are good. Voice is hoarse.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night for your vocal cords.
A lot of Chiefs fans on the way out doing their little chant, they love to do. One of the most obnoxious things in all sports. But the vibes are high, and I'm hoping that the Avs can keep this rolling because it was was a sweat trying to get over here from the stadium. We'll just say that.
Was that 6 or 7 straight for the Broncos?
I believe 7 straight, 9-2.
Okay, well, the Avs have to at least win 7 straight then to keep up. That's the rules.
Some are saying Denver sports teams may never lose in the month of November again.
Some are saying. I have heard, at least not in regulation.
I don't know the science behind that, but I'll stick to it.
Lineup for the Avs tonight expected to be the same as the other night. Taylor McCarr did get recalled. He did play his game with the Colorado Eagles on Friday night and now is back up. I don't know that there's a lot to read into with Taylor McCarr on the Colorado Avalanche, but he's getting a fair shake. He's getting his time on the fourth line rather. He did play over 7 minutes the other night, so it's not the 4-minute experience that we've seen sometimes happen with that fourth line. So there's at least some belief there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he saw more ice time the other night than I would have anticipated coming in. Obviously, with Val out of the lineup, he shakes some things around with those lines, gives some young guys an opportunity, but he's got to make the most of it, right? It felt like it was I don't want to get too critical over a rookie fourth liner,
Yeah.
but it felt like it was a fairly quiet showing. Let's just say, like, I think you could have told a lot of people Taylor McCarr played in that game. They'd be like, oh, really? He did?
Right. Which number was he again?
Yeah.
16, by the way.
Just a Anton Tenkupo situation? Or?
I know Kale pretty well. Yeah, he's the younger brother. Like, it should be the other way around, really. But McCarr squared would be what, 64?
Technically, yeah.
Okay, so there we go. When someone else steals 16 from him, he can wear 64. It's still all good. We do also have Jared Bednar's audio from Morning Skate. He was a little bit more brief today, but let's hear what Coach had to say about the Avs going for 6 straight.
I'll go ahead and call on you guys this morning. Evan, lead us off.
Just the last time a teenage defenseman was doing what Matthew Schaefer's doing is probably the guy on your side right now.
Yeah.
What have you seen watching him, and do you see the comparison?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's a great skater, great hands, likes to get involved in the play. Like most young offensive defensemen, he's got lots of get up and go, and I mean, he's making a huge impact on their team in a short amount of time and producing at a high rate. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a real good one.
Jesse?
Coach, we were just talking to Josh about playing on the offside. He was saying that he's still struggling to adjust and catching pucks and things like that. And we were kind of saying, to all right, don't really notice much of a difference. What have you thought of him playing on his own hand?
I think he's handled it really well. You know, it takes some getting used to. You know, I know those guys, even yesterday, Sam and him were out before practice, like working on retrieving pucks in the offensive zone and like some hard passes up the wall, some slow ones. How do you retrieve it? What's the best way? And getting some input. And Burnsy's was in there too. And just those little things, getting enough touches to make it second nature. But I think he's done a really nice job over there. That's why we still have him there. Yeah.
Ryan, then Bailey.
Taylor McCarr had a really impressive second game. He was called up again ahead of tonight's game. What were your impressions of his last performance?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought that he took a step even from the San Jose game, which I really liked him in. Just responsible defensively, no glaring mistakes on the defensive side of it or turnovers. So building trust on that, and then he had a couple of really good scoring chances in limited ice time as well. Deflected one right off the goalie's shoulder, almost went in, and then he got a good look off the rush later on. So, I mean, he just working on his development. He's done a nice job down there. Straight line guy that can play physical, can really skate, and he's shown that here in the 2 games he's played as well.
Bailey.
Sam Girard returning to the lineup last game. What are some of the things that you kind of saw in his return that you're hoping you can kind of work on heading?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, he's pretty steady. He was pretty steady already in game 1. The one thing about Sam is, like, in his return to play and of all the injuries he's had over the years, like, he comes back and he's, like, ready to go almost immediately. So I liked his game the other night. I mean, he'll get more involved a little bit as he starts getting his legs underneath him, but first game back, he's generally one of our best guys coming back from injuries, and I thought he was really good the other night.
Eric, then Ryan Bolden.
How much do those games against your former team matter in the room? Like, how much do the guys rally around someone like Brock Nelson going up against his former team?
Yeah, it depends on the group. He'll be taking some heat. He'll have his name on the board to make sure he's putting a donation up there tonight, I'm sure. But lots of Avs connections and Islanders connections, right? You got Taser, you got Brock, you got, like on the other side, Patty and Bugner were both here. Ray was here, and we had Cal Ritchie, Drew N. So like, should be a fun game to play. You got two teams that are playing pretty well. They've won 4 in a row. They've looked really good on this stretch, and we're trying to keep our thing going here. So it should be a fun game.
Ryan and Corey.
Keith Moranto was out this morning just in a non-contact jersey.
Yeah.
Do you have an update on where he's at?
Yeah, he's coming along nicely. So his original timeline was 6 to 8 weeks, and he's just at the 4-week mark right now. But it seems like everything's going good. So he's going to start joining practice here, non-contact for a little bit, and then we'll eventually move him to contact. And we're hoping to hit that 6-week date if everything continues to progress properly.
Corey, then we'll finish with Rachel.
Just how would you sum up Jonathan Drouin's time here? I know he was only here for a couple of years, but made a pretty big impact while he was here.
Yeah, no, he was a good player for us. I liked it. I thought, coming over, whatever his role was or his sort of identity as a player prior to getting here, highly skilled offensive guy, can play with top players, has good speed and good vision, likes the give and go game. But soon after joining us, he really dug in on the defensive side of things. Was a highly, regarded defensive player for us too. So, I think you have to be in this league. If you're going to play top line minutes with top guys, you're going to face a lot of other top lines. So you have to, round out your game and become a better defensive player. And he did that, and he earned a lot of trust with me. And then he was also still very productive in his time here. So, I just think all around really good top 6 winger for us.
Go ahead, finish, Rachel.
It's Hockey Fights Cancer Night. What does that night mean to you, and do you kind of rally around guys like Josh Manson, where it hits a little bit closer to home for them?
Yeah, I think you do, and I like, we're all proud of the NHLPA, the league, for having this initiative. I know we raise a lot of money to help with cancer research, awareness, all of it. There's not too many people now that this doesn't touch. So your heart goes out. Everyone's got a personal story, and it means a lot. So it's always good to kind of have this night and get everybody behind it, and especially for the guys closest to us, so they're always kind of in the back of our minds.
Thank you, Jared.
Yep, thank you.
There you go. Jared kind of touched on all of the beats of this game, to be honest, but we do have my stat pack that we can get to here, because I do want to talk about these two teams. I think the Islanders are a pretty interesting team. The Avs obviously dominate in possession. They have been all year. That hasn't changed at all. But New York, they're not good possession-wise. They're not horrible, but they're one of the worst in the league at generating high-danger chances, and they give up a bunch too. So there really should be lots of opportunity for the Avs in this game. Or you could look at it the side of they should be able to lock the Islanders down pretty effectively. But when you look at the PDO, which a PDO, if you don't know, is an indicator of luck. It's just your on-ice shooting percentage plus your on-ice save percentage. Over long periods of time, it trends towards exactly 1 or 1,000 if you're looking at it as a percentage marker. The Avs are starting to drift into, they've been getting a little bit lucky. Their finishing over these last 4 or 5 games has been probably higher than it should be. But the Islanders the way they're playing is almost exactly what you would expect out of them. They're not getting particularly lucky or unlucky. And when you look at these two teams, the Islanders are skating by with a goal differential of +2. They're 4 games over 500. And they're only +2 on the goal differential. So they're sneaking by with wins, and when they're losing, it can get ugly against them. Meanwhile, the Avs have the best goal differential in the league, which is it's double the next team. It's actually out.
I was looking. I mentioned that in the newsletter the other day. And you're going through it, and you're like, wow, there's 3 teams in the league that are +10 or more. At least when I did this, on Friday. And I think second was +14.
Yeah, right. It's not close to with the dominance of which the Avs are winning hockey games. And again, they've only lost by 1 goal. They've never lost by more than 1 goal yet this year. And a lot of that comes down to this last statistic I have on here. The Avs have the most productive defense in the NHL with 54 points total out of it. The Islanders are fine. Like 37 points is not a bad number
Nothing
for
shabby.
production. But if you look a little bit deeper into that, I know a lot of Avs fans, myself included, have kind of dialed in and be like, wow, the Devon Toews still has no goals on the season. His production has actually upticked pretty well over the last run
He's
here for the
playing really
Avs.
well.
Yeah. But you look at the Islanders and they have 2 defensemen with goals. 4 of their starting 6 defensemen have 0 goals. So Avs might be a little bit pampered on the defensive
A little
production
bit of
side.
perspective for you on this Sunday evening.
Exactly. Taves is doing just fine, even if he doesn't have a goal.
You know, sometimes on a Sunday, it's good to be thankful for what you do have and,
Yep.
and take account.
Exactly. So Avs defense is producing plenty. Not too worried about it on that front. I do think it's interesting to note Patrick Waugh, if you were an Avs fan through the 2010s, you will know this, but does run a very counter-attacking style. You're pretty likely to outshoot the Islanders. You're pretty likely to have more opportunities than them, but you have to be ready on the backside of those because they're looking to take advantage of you when you try to cheat a little bit. Maybe you pinch in too hard, as the Avs defense loves to activate. Waugh's systems as a team will attack that and try to get odd man rushes the other way.
It's one of those matchups you don't want to beat yourself. Maybe
Yeah,
trying to get a little
exactly.
too cute.
Yep.
And, you know, we had some instances of that, especially from the top guys at times. You know, MacKinnon trying to
Do too much.
doing a little bit too much here and there.
Yep. The Avs have long fallen into that trap at times. I do think these last couple of games it's been better. We saw the other night the willingness to shoot that
They
we
were
haven't
sharp.
seen.
I love that the other night.
Yeah.
Just the ability. Let's see if we can make something good happen. Let's put it on net.
Yep. It sometimes doesn't have to be that complicated. And if the Avs do that tonight, I think they really should be in a great position to win the game. You don't have to overthink this stuff. They're on a bit of a homestand here where things are just clicking. I don't know. I've always been that guy. Like growing up, I was a pretty decent baseball player. I wasn't going to go pro or anything, but like I played in pretty competitive leagues. And
Could chuck a pigskin a quarter mile.
well, I would struggle because like people would ask me like what your thought process is when you go up to the plate or like what are you thinking out there? And the answer for me was always nothing.
That's good. That's
when I was playing like head empty, 100%, just in the moment, doing whatever I'm doing.
I just like didn't want to strike out and have to have the awkward car ride conversation home or look embarrassing in front of my middle school crush or something like
tough.
that.
Always tough when that happens. It's all right. My wife never went to any of my baseball games, so never
Sometimes
had to worry
that's a
about
blessing
that.
in disguise.
Never had to worry about that one on that front. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I do think it is worth noting this should not be a hard game for the Avs to get up for. New York's on a winning streak. They're in a playoff spot. This really doesn't have any of the indicators of a trap game that you start worrying about around this time of a winning streak.
Should be well rested.
Yeah, it would be pretty disappointing if the Avs didn't show up and play effective hockey in this one. So I'm expecting that from them, but I wanted
They are
to
probably due for a down
and
game.
You look at
especially
at
home at some point. Not to bring
the
the
San
vibes
Jose
down,
game
not to-
coming
yeah.
up. Unfortunately, they have those away games with the Chicago game. where
Classic trap situation,
You wonder
yeah.
about those a little bit. I did want to ask you, Justin, because we're starting to get into ridiculous numbers. We've brought up the only one regulation loss so far this season. They're currently on a 5-game winning streak. You have a guy like Nathan MacKinnon leading the league in goals and points and yada, yada, yada. At what point do those numbers start to turn into pressure on the Avs?
In what sense?
Like when you're on a long winning streak, you come to the building every night knowing you have to play and try and keep the winning streak going, right? At what point do these streak type things, and the answer could genuinely be never.
I mean, at this stage of the season, I don't think there's a whole ton. Like, you're not going to go 82-0. We know
Right.
that.
Yeah, it's true.
So, I mean, again, I do think they are probably due for a down stretch at some point here, just the human nature of it and the schedule, especially as we get to the holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be some sluggishness, but I don't know, man. Just listening to the way these guys talk, and that really goes back to training camp now.
Yep.
I still think they've got a fire lit under their ass at this point. How long that can carry you? Can you have that for an entire season? That's TBD.
Right.
But right now, it still feels like they're very much bought into that. This is the redemption tour. We got our captain back. I do think that regardless of whether he's slow to step or not, there is something to his presence
For sure.
and it being
For
something that those
sure.
top guys especially really feed into. I think they got the right mentality right now.
Me too. If they lose, they lose.
You're gonna lose
It's
some
gonna
games,
happen
yeah.
eventually. But I agree. I do think this team has the juice to avoid a lot of those trap games.
I mean, especially if Wedgwood keeps playing the way that he's played, which is a big factor in all this. If he regresses to the mean to an extent and all of a sudden starts looking like a backup goaltender, and you might end up in a, who are they going to start type
Blackwood
situation.
needs to step up at that point.
That could be an ordeal.
It definitely, but
based on what they're doing right now, it's
right. Don't punish them for a mistake they haven't made yet, for sure.
And that's why, I keep throwing out the qualifiers of be prepared because they are going to lose a game at some point. But they've been playing so well that it's hard to go into a matchup feeling anything other than big cocky.
Yeah, it's hard.
This is the best team in the league. They played like it very consistently. Still one regulation loss. We joked about it the other night, but you got to stretch pretty hard to nitpick about this group.
We're making my job hard when we get to our bets, which I'll get to in a minute, but there's not a lot of good money.
The value is quickly going out the window. Turns out Vegas is not going to let you bet on the Avs to win.
That's a sign that your team might be doing pretty well right now. I'll put it to you that way. Before we get to the bets, let's get to our crystal ball. Bust it out, J Mike. Give me a name, give me a number. I think I tweeted it. I think I was wrong. I think the Avs actually need to score 7 to outscore the Broncos.
Okay,
this
I like
week.
It. I'm going old school ass whooping.
Let's go.
I'm going 6-2 win.
Pop off.
Never really in doubt. And our man Devon Tays,
he's getting on the board.
He's getting on the board tonight. He's due.
Another former Islander, so
that's what we're leaning into.
It's been a couple of years for him, unlike Nelson. But I am down for the ex-player curse all over this game, every little bit of it. I'm gonna go a little less than that. I'm gonna go. Do I think Wedgie has a good game? Maybe I'll keep your 2, and I'll just say only 5.
Only
5. For the Avs.
There's poor people around here. Hide your money, y'all.
I'll go with only 5, and I will take the other ex-player in Brock Nelson. Absolutely.
I like it.
As my goal scorer. You'll see right now, actually, we can jump into my pregame picks, which is, of course, presented by Bet365, where things are never ordinary. Like I said, not great money, but a Cale McCargle, plus 275, pretty good there. New bet on Bet365 that they've added. Player to get the most shots on goal in the game. I feel like MacKinnon is the man to take on that.
That's
most nights.
Yeah, I'll take that value on that alone.
It's pretty good. But the ex-player curse, I figured why not go all the way in on it and take a Brock Nelson hat trick tonight at plus 10,000. That one is maybe more of a spite pick than anything else. The ex-player curse concept is what we're actually going for there. Maybe go with Devon Taves. If you want to go the other way, I'm sure you can pencil Jonathan Drouin in for a point tonight.
He will be scoring one of their 2 goals.
We've just accepted that at this point.
Let's just hope it's not more than that.
Who knows? Maybe even Cal Ritchie can get on the board.
I liked Drouin, man. He was a fun conversation in the locker room last spring. He was a good dude.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
Gave me a lot of good quotes. I mean, all the Avs are. It's funny covering the team. They're a bunch of good dudes in that locker room.
They are a lot of fun guys to talk to. A lot of good vibes this year too, especially with that locker room. It's all good on that front. We'll see. Maybe Gavin Brindley can keep up his stuff on the second line. Maybe we'll see the third line step up and get it done for the Avalanche. It's a fun year because I could just say anyone on the team and be like, yeah, they could do the job for the Avs tonight.
What I'm doing now. It's Devon Taves time, baby.
Why not?
Not that he's a scrub by
not
any
exactly.
means. Yeah.
Kind of a top pairing.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Not exactly a Hail Mary.
But, I mean, would anyone be surprised if it was like, oh, by the way, Zakar Bartikov had 2 points tonight? It'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I could. Okay.
That's the Avs. What are you going to do?
I suppose. Would Brindley score again, too?
J. Mike, you've been a longtime Avs fan. Is there anything extra to it with Patrick Waugh as head coach here, or is that a dead storyline?
I think it's been enough time removed. 6-7 years ago. There's still probably some weirdness just based on how the tenure ended, which is still kind of a
not great
wonky ordeal, especially for somebody who's as deeply tied to the organization as he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've already played footer. Like
That's true.
at some point, like a third of the league's going to be our former stars.
Well, hopefully they can keep beating them. It's
all right with me.
They beat Adam Foote. If you beat Patrick Waugh, someone's got to hire Peter Forsberg as a coach in the league so they can beat them too.
Forsberg's too busy just looking cool, wearing
kidding.
sweet outfits and cool like glass poker player glasses.
I think he did his thing with the management in the Swedish league and said, I'm good. I'm out on this.
It's more fun being rich and retired.
Seriously, could never be me, but I wish. We are going to wrap up this pregame show. We do have a watch-along coming your way back over in the watch-along set, so come join us for that. We should have all of our emojis back since the Broncos game is over, too. So jump in on that. And then, of course, J. Mike and I will break down everything for you in the postgame. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
We all silly like the mayor.